Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. So this evening I'm going to film me making a cauliflower based pizza with a pesto topping and a few other bits and pieces on top. This recipe is vegan and ketogenic and I will be tracking the macros and all the details will be in the description box. So to begin with, I'm just going to preheat the oven to 180 degrees fan forced. And then you'll need a baking tray and some baking paper, so just line the tray. Put that on there, and then just pop this one aside. Okay, so for the base, what you will need half a cauliflower head, and everyone's grams will be completely different. You will need half an onion. I know onions are quite high in carb, but we're only using half an onion for 2 servings, so it doesn't actually work out to be that much. We're going to use some ground coriander seeds, some fresh sage and rosemary, and usually I would use an egg to kind of bind the dough, but because I'm doing a vegan recipe today, I'm going to make replace the egg with flax seeds and water. So I'm just going to do that to begin with. So what I've got here is I've got 1 tablespoon of ground flax seeds. Always grind your flax seeds because they're easily absorbed by the body. Whole flax seeds are really difficult for digestion. And so we're going to add to this 2 tablespoons of water. And we're just going to mix that around. And we're just going to let that sit so it kind of thickens up a little bit. Okay, so to begin with, you're going to need a food processor and you're going to put the cauliflower into the food processor. Okay, I'm then going to pulse the cauliflower so it becomes like a puree, kind of crummy texture. So as you can see, it becomes like a cauliflower kind of puree just because there's so much moisture in the cauliflower. So now what we're going to do, we need to get the moisture out of the cauliflower so it becomes, we can make the base like dry and crispy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a tea towel. Just lay the tea towel out. And I'm just going to scrape the cauliflower into the center of the tea towel. So once you've got it all rolled up in a ball in a tea towel, we're going to squeeze the moisture out. So I'm just going to squeeze it into the bowl just to show you, and then I'll just take it over to the sink. Make sure you get all of the moisture out because, like I said before, we want the pizza base to be crispy and dry. And so once you feel like you've got all of the moisture out, just open it up to make sure it's nice and, well, on the dry side. We're then just going to get a mixing bowl and we're going to pour the cauliflower into the bowl. Okay, now we're going to add to the cauliflower our onion, half an onion. Make sure you weigh everything before you combine it. Coriander seeds. Our herbs, so our rosemary and sage. a tablespoon of olive oil, some pink Himalayan sea salt, as much as desired, and our flaxseed mix, which is replacing the egg. It should be nice and stodgy by now, so we're just going to put that in. Like so, and we're just going to mix it up. So an advantage of using the flaxseed, not only for vegan purposes, but over the egg, is fiber. So one of the main symptoms of this diet is constipation. So it is important to try and get as much fiber from natural sources as possible, and this is kind of a sneaky way to do it. I'm just going to bring over the baking tray. What I'm going to do is make a ball of the dough. I'll just give you a look. I'm going to make a ball. Pop this in the center of the tray. Just get all the mixture. I'm going to massage it out to make the pizza base, to make it nice and round. Totally depends how you like your pizza base, thin or thick. I'm a moderate kind of gal. And that is our base. So I'm just going to put this in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. Just keep checking up on it. You want it to be like nicely crisp and brown on the edges. Okay, so next we're going to make our pesto topping. So usually I would use Parmesan cheese in my pesto, but I'm going to replace that with nutritional yeast. I drove around all morning trying to find a nutritional yeast that was actually low in carb. I found one and it was 1.9 grams per serving, and a serving is like 16 grams or something. I'm only using about 12 grams for the pesto, and the pesto should serve like quite a few people. So what I'll need you to start with is 2 cups of fresh basil, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 to 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, and like I said before, this is just 12 grams, and some pine nuts. I think 25 grams of pine nuts, but I want you to toast these before we blend all of the ingredients in together. Okay, so when toasting pine nuts, you just have to be careful to keep an eye on them because they do burn really easily, and we just want them nice and lightly brown. So I'll tip those in. Until they kind of look like this. And I'm just going to pour them back into the little bowl. Okay, so what you'll need is some form of blender. NutriBullet's really good. And we're going to add our basil. So about 2 cups of basil. 2 tablespoons of olive oil, our toasted pine nuts, 25 grams, our nutritional yeast, and some pink Himalayan sea salt. Blend that up the best it can, and we'll probably need to add some water. Yep. So I'm going to begin by just putting like maybe like a tablespoon in. You can also add some more olive oil as well. I might actually do a tablespoon of water and like half a tablespoon of olive oil. Let's see how that goes. You should get like a creamy basil pesto. So I'm just going to scrape this out. Like I said before, all the measurements and macros will be going in the description box once I've worked them out. A lot of pesto recipes have a lot of olive oil, which is what we like, but olive oil and oils in general, even the ones with the good fat, are really calorie dense. So you don't want to like take up your daily calorie intake with just a topping. Let's pop that aside. This is our pesto. So this should serve like a few people. I'll work it out, the serving size, when I'm actually putting it on the pizza. Okay, so with the pizza toppings, it's totally your choice, but you want to make sure the toppings fit your macros as well. So what I'm using, I'm going to use some broccoli, Brussels sprouts, the pesto of course, handful of spinach, and 100 grams of firm tofu. I've actually got the packet here. I use this one. So in this tofu, per serving, so it's 100 grams, there is a total of 1.1 grams of carbs, which is amazing, and 6.3 grams of fat, which is exactly what we want. So these are our toppings for the pizza. I'll just check on the base to see how it's going. And the base is all done, so I'm just going to slide that onto the chopping board. And it feels really good. I think you'll find if you use an egg rather than the flax seeds, the base will stay together. So this is a knife and fork job, I think. You won't be able to eat it like a regular pizza, but yeah, see how we go. We're gonna just start by we'll start with a tablespoon of the pesto mix. Just kind of spread it around. You'll probably need a couple. I like it right out to the edges. Usual pestos contain like lemon juice, garlic and parmesan, so a regular pesto will be a little bit more flavoursome, but you can always just add herbs and whatever spices you like add chili, add salt, and you'll get more flavour. So in total that was 2 tablespoons. I like my broccoli raw, so I'm just going to put it on raw, but you can cook it slightly if that's what you'd prefer. And some sprouts. I've also got the oven still going because we're going to put this back in once we've put the toppings on. And the tofu. So I've got 100 grams here, but I'm beginning to think it might be too much. So I'm just going to cut it up and just so we won't need the 100 grams. I think I'm just going to use half of that, so we've got 50 grams. Remember to weigh everything. There we go. And then I think usually I would put some spinach on top, but I might just put the spinach on just at the very end and then put some nutritional yeast and things on there as well. So I'm going to put this back in the oven just so the vegetables cook a little bit, the tofu cooks a little bit, and the base can probably do with a few more minutes as well. Okay, so I just had a little check on the pizza and I forgot to kind of oil the Brussels sprouts and they're not quite cooking. So what I'm doing is I'm just getting a little thing of olive oil and I'm just going to paint the Brussels sprouts. So yeah, remember to either cook the Brussels sprouts or put some oil before they go into the oven, otherwise they're going to be like raw. Depends how you like them. So with this recipe, it kind of all depends on how many macros you've got left for the day. If you're having it for dinner, if you're having for lunch, you just need to make sure you track everything, put it into MyFitnessPal or whichever app you're using before you eat it so you're not going over. And if you've got more room for calories, fats, carbs, proteins, whatever, just add whichever toppings you would like. I'm probably going to add some more nutritional yeast just to give it that cheesy flavor because I love cheese. But I'm trying to cut down the best I can, and nutritional yeast is an amazing alternative. And so this is the final product. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some nutritional yeast to the top. Just a little sprinkle. And voila, vegan, ketogenic, cauliflower-based pizza with a pesto topping. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you do get the chance to make the recipe because it's absolutely delicious. It's one of my favorites, and I will put all of the macros and all of the ingredients and the recipe in the description box. But yeah, stay tuned. This one's fully vegan, fully keto, so remember to like and subscribe to support me, and I look forward to making my next vlog. I'll see you next time.